Welcome to the Winning with Shopify podcast. This is the podcast to help you scale your Shopify store into a money-making machine. This series is brought to you by Afluencer. Afluencer is a Shopify app that helps you meet influencers, micro-influencers, and creators. You'll be matched with new partners who can create and share posts on Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter to help grow your brand. Go to winningwithshopify.com/influencer to book your free influencer marketing strategy session. Now over to your host, Nick Truman.
Hi everybody, and welcome to another episode of the Winning with Shopify podcast. For anyone that's not tuned in before, my name's Nick. It's an absolute pleasure to have you on the show, and welcome to your first ever episode. If, like many of our listeners, you've been tuning in for a long time, you've already hit that subscribe button, you get little notifications, normally on a Friday, saying that there's a new episode to go and listen to. Welcome back. You guys are our source of truth. And I've got one little announcement for all of you today, whether you're a new listener or you've been listening for quite a while. And that little announcement is that we want to hear from you guys. We're going to be putting together some sort of survey in the next few months because we want to hear what you guys want to know about, some of the challenges you're facing, so we can help go through those things with experts, guests, and myself included on the podcast to provide value to you guys. In the interim, if you can't wait until that survey goes out, go to our website, winningwithshopify.com, fill out any form on the site, even if it's a sponsorship form. They all come through to the same place, as I say almost every week. But fill out those forms, send something in to us, and tell us what are your biggest challenges, your troubles, your woes at the moment, things that you guys want us to talk about, and we will go and find an expert and bring them on. Because chances are, if you've got a challenge at the moment, there's going to be a lot of our audience that have a very similar challenge. Anyway, let's talk about influencers. So we're starting a new series today, all about influencer marketing, something that I've dabbled in the past. I've been an influencer myself at times. I know lots of influencers. I know companies that have been burnt by influencer marketing. I know companies that do incredibly well from influencer marketing. And some of you listening won't even know what influencers are. But joining me today is a very special guest. He's also sponsoring this month as well. His name is Brett Owens, and he is the founder of Afluencer, or here's another title he's just told me about that we're going to find out more about in a sec, which is Chief Collab Matchmaker. Brett, welcome to the show.
Nick, thanks for having me on.
Well, it's an absolute pleasure to have you with us. And as we ask all of our guests, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself and a little bit about Afluencer as well?
Yeah, sure thing, Nick. So last time we spoke, years back, other side of things, I was working on an affiliate tracking company that also works with Shopify, so Lead Dino, and we started that company back in 2012 and been in the Shopify App Store since 2013. So that was kind of my project of the previous decade. One thing that kept coming up with Shopify merchants is they wanted not only to install our app and get affiliate tracking, but they also wanted affiliates, right? You're starting a partner program and you want the technology, but you also want the partners. So that was really the tricky part of the whole affiliate marketing space, was where do you find these partners from? So we had various focuses on that. In 2016, we launched an affiliate network that we called e-commerce affiliates, and our idea was that if you had a Shopify store in the health segment, we would find you health-related affiliates, right? Nice. If you had a clothing line, we would find you fashion-based affiliates. Skincare, we'd look for skincare-based affiliates. So that was a project that we started 2016, ramped that up. Of course, networks are kind of big things to build, and then the influencer space came in and then started to grow on its own. So long story short, in 2019, it took that network and spun it out into its own company, Afluencer. And then a couple years ago, we did a Shopify app now so that Shopify merchants can live that dream that we've been kind of going for since the middle of the 2010s, to install an app and then get introduced to partners, affiliates, influencers, creators, micro-influencers who are good potential matches for you on the partner side.
Nice. Right, I've got loads of notes. We've got loads of stuff to go off, and things we're going to be talking about as we go through. But obviously, I've got an English accent, so I'm calling it Affluencer, and you're calling it Afluencer. How is it spelled? Just if anyone wants to quickly Google while they're listening.
Both pronunciations are good. Afluencer is the spelling.
Lovely stuff. Now, you've pinpointed, I think, one of the biggest challenges I think a lot of people have with working with influencers is it all feels a bit loosey-goosey. Like, okay, someone's going to talk about my products, or they're going to talk about my business, and how am I going to make any money from this, and also how I'm going to track it. So let's start with, which is obviously your background when we first spoke. And I have to say, I think we were both on this podcast, but I was a guest back in the day, and Caroline was still hosting. But going back to those days, and obviously you guys still do some of this now, what are some of the ways you can actually track the traffic coming into your site and the activity that's going on?
Right. So the tracking, because at the end of the day, I mean, this is all about sales. I think that's where influencer marketing, from its early days, maybe had a little bit of a reputation of not having an ROI, return on investment, right? So the tracking element, right? The good thing about doing stuff these days is there are a million tracking apps out there in the Shopify App Store. My old company, Lee Dino, is one of them. There are lots out there that will give you a tracking link that the influencer can use in their promotion. So, for example, if they're doing a post for your product on Instagram, they can not only put the product in the photo, or better yet, in the reel or the video, they can also put that link out there. Now, it's a little funny with social media because where you can put links kind of differs on the platform. So Instagram might be something where they're putting the post in their feed, and then the link is going in their profile, so you'll see that link in the profile. If they're doing a story, those are the little things at the top, the short videos that disappear. At a certain level, they can put a link in there where you swipe up. So then that link ideally is a tracking link that'll let you figure out, okay, these sales came from this influencer. A code is another way to do it also, so you can do a discount code, and then the tracking software should be able to figure that out. So on the Shopify checkout, they would have a discount code, and then they'd be able to track that. That all said, I think with this type of marketing, and it's a good thing, like you said, it is kind of fuzzy, fungible. You do get a bit of a halo effect, which is a good thing, where you might get sales that you can't necessarily track. I've heard only on podcast sponsorships, for example, maybe 1 out of 3 sales are things you can track. So just kind of old school on the calendar, hey, this post is going live today. Did it move the needle in terms of sales? I think those are good things to do as well, to see, hey, we're doing a collab or a partnership type event this day. What did that do for us in terms of sales? Did it move the needle or not?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think, as you say, loads of ways to track links. I think discount codes are quite interesting as well. Or even sometimes if it's not, I say discount code, it could just be a code. It could offer something for free. It could be free delivery. It could just be use this code when you sign up and you'll get more exclusive offers after you buy. I think there's always a danger of just saying like, oh, it's a code. Okay, we're going to knock some money off. And obviously some brands, they don't discount. You know, we have, I think it's about 15% of our client base at my agency. They refuse to do Black Friday. They don't do discounts. It's like you pay what you pay and you pay that all year. Otherwise, they see a lull before and after Black Friday and you get this big peak in the middle. And the peak, unfortunately, is a much smaller margin of stuff. So, yeah, it doesn't always have to be that. But I think certainly, yeah, the links are the more traditional way to do it, isn't it? You mentioned affiliate marketing. You're sending someone in, there's a tracking link on the end, and wherever they go, there's a bit of software or Google Analytics or something is running to know these people sent these guys in the first place. I think the only other one I would add to the list that some of our more B2B clients do, so when it's like form fills, is they will have a drop-down box or a box to say who introduced you. You know, like you may be, and we often use clever wording. You may be entitled to a discount. And the keyword there being may. You may be entitled to a discount. Who introduced you? And you can say, well, you know, if you're one of our clients in insurance, I'm insuring this new guitar that I've bought, and I bought it from this music shop. And the reason I'm coming here actually is because there was a poster in the music shop, and the guy said, if you need insurance, these guys give you a 25% discount. So yeah, make sure you fill that box out, sort of thing. So again, another good way of tracking it. I'm going to ask possibly quite an open-ended Pandora's box question, but we're going to go with it anyway and sort of see where we go. There are lots of types of influencers, and I think there's 2 questions here. The first one really is, what are the different types? Like, what are some of the types of influencer that people should be coming across and merchants should be looking to work with? And the second question, which also affects that, I think, is what are some of the channels and platforms you'll find these guys on? Because not all of them are on Instagram, which is Instagram and YouTube being the obvious too. So yeah, question 1, what different types of influencer could you expect to work with, or could you think about working with?
Different types today are split up by size of their following. So I would say if we go back 5 to even 7 years ago, the traditional influencer, they tended to be celebrities, right? Kardashians, Oprah, and we're talking huge million-plus followers, right? And these are the influencers who have grown to where it's now hundreds of thousands to $1 million per post to get them to do something, right? So those are what I would call almost mega influencer celebrities. I almost don't consider them. They're almost beyond the influencer class, and we don't, for our purposes, they're separate. They're not they're not what we're interested in from a pure marketing standpoint. So if we split them up then, and I would say there's kind of like this B, C-list celebrities, they might be your mega are macro influencers, and from a what does that look like from a total follower standpoint? And when I say followers, I could be talking about Instagram or TikTok or YouTube, as you mentioned, right? Or Facebook, Twitter, right? All these platforms. So above in the hundreds of thousands, I would consider those our macro influencers. And then once we start looking below 100,000, so say between 10 and 100,000, those would be our micro influencers. And then below there would be our nano influencers, right? So all these terms have sprouted up. But if we think about that chain, right, it's all going to be based on the number of followers that they they have. Now our pricing kind of scales up. It doesn't necessarily scale linearly. It actually goes up quite a bit at the end. So like I said, the celebrities, it might be $1 million to get their attention, where a macro influencer might be $1,000, but a micro influencer could be $200 to work with, and then a nano influencer could be $25 or $50 to work with. So it actually scales up kind of exponentially as you go up the chain, which is where I think, and to your initial point again, it is very kind of loosey-goosey in terms of rules, but that's kind of I think a good thing, because there's a lot of value with the nanos and the micros today. And it reminds me of, like, we've both done things like Google AdWords. Like 20 years ago, there was actual value in Google AdWords, where today it's all optimized, it's more pricey, it's all formal, and it's very hard to establish a brand. I mean, if you're doing a new Shopify brand, it's almost darn near impossible to get it going on AdWords or Facebook alone, right? You got to do other things. So the good thing about especially the smaller, the nano and the micro space on the influencer side is there's more opportunity there, because it's, as I knock my microphone over here, it's less established, right? And then if we look at the platforms, Instagram's still the big one, but it has been moving towards video, as you said. So YouTube and then also TikTok. A lot of the move towards video has been driven by TikTok success and YouTube success, where Mark Zuckerberg, of course, had a Facebook and Instagram, has seen that. And over the last year and a half, he's really prioritized video in those algorithms, right? So you're seeing, if you log into Instagram today and you just do show me something, it's just going to show you more and more videos in your feed. So we're kind of hitting a situation right now where the best way to reach people is to do a short video and then get it out there on as many channels as you can. And it could be very similar in terms of the video. So it could be Instagram, it could be TikTok and YouTube, where we've got this video going out there. So that's a short answer on the platforms and where we're looking at in the influencer space. I guess to wrap it up, I would say our average beginning merchant on Shopify who's getting going with influencer marketing for the first time, I like to encourage them, look at those nano, the micro influencers, which is where the best value is. And if we can get them to produce short videos for us, then we can get a really effective campaign going without too much of an initial investment.
Nice. I love that term, nano influencer. I've obviously heard micro before because that's been around for quite a while, but I think nano is quite exciting. And I think, as you say, as someone who's been living and breathing Google Ads for 15 years, you're absolutely right. I was saying with another guest a few weeks ago that it's a lot easier to scale up a good business. A business is already established, that it's tried and tested, the website converts well. We just got to blast more traffic at it. And actually the job for us is like, we know we're going to get 10, 20 to 1 ROI, which from Google is like unheard of for a smaller company. But you need that brand awareness. And certainly, we had Viral on, who custom make gaming computers, and they're also moving into creative space as well. And they were saying that the entire business growth so far has been completely organic, which is amazing. Which I did sort of joke with him, like, you are absolutely ripe for advertising now because you've done it the other way that most do, which is just blast it out there. I guess a really big question, and I completely agree with you on the platforms. There's a few other platforms I want to talk about as we go through because, it's certainly that the social ones are just one element of this, I think. But when you're looking at followers or followings of people and how many people they have there, how important, obviously the answer is very important, but talk us through the importance of the engagement of that audience. Because influencers, really naughty ones, they've bought followers over the years. They've got almost like the longer they've been running their channel for, the more dead users they have. Ones that just aren't engaged, don't see their content anymore. How do you guys assess that? Like, how can a merchant look at that and go, okay, it might say they've got 500,000, but I'm only seeing 200 likes per post?
Yep, great. And I can see that you do this a lot, Nick. Go right to engagement. So that's it, right?
Yeah.
So when we talk about engagement, roughly speaking, it's on a given post, the number of likes and comments that the person is receiving, the creator, the influencer, the micro, whatever we want to how would we want to term them, right? So the engagement is what it sounds like, right? How engaged that post is, and we care about it because that's the best proxy that we have for sales, right? Because we need engagement to click links and to share posts and to go and buy things. So that's why we care about engagement, to your point. So engagement rate, as you mentioned, declines as your number of followers increases. Reasons for that, you mentioned dead followers are no longer interested. Some people bought followers, not good. We don't like that. It is a natural part of the process, right? A nano influencer, your mom, your grandma, your dog, your best friend are following you. They're liking, they're commenting on everything. As you grow your influence, you grow your following, naturally then people do become less engaged with you. So a couple ways we look at that. One, we do take that engagement rate from Instagram directly into Afluencer. We have our influencers connect their Instagram accounts directly, so we take those posts directly from the source. So we're able to see, to your point, 200,000 or 500,000 followers, and then we've got their engagement rate on their recent posts. We've got their lifetime engagement rate as well. We then rank them. We kind of have a plot going by number of followers that you have and where we expect your engagement rate to be. And we're ranking you against other users in the Afluencer app. So we're not looking out there into the ether. These are actual users who are doing collabs with other brands. And then we rank where the influencer is. And what I like to tell Shopify merchants is, hey, look, we're looking for somebody with, there's no set engagement rate. There's no like 2%'s good or 2%'s bad. It depends, right, on how big your following is. It also depends where that following is. So we'd like to see first, in terms of based on the number of followers you have, okay, you have 45,000 followers. Where do we want to see that engagement rate, right? It's probably between 3 and 4%, just off the top of my head. So we look at that and we say, okay, anything above 3% is going to be promising. And then we look at location. So we also split up location by follower count, right? And if we're only shipping to the UK or only to the US or only to Southeast Asia, those are the only countries that we care about. And that's another thing where the followers, the authenticity of the followers matters also. So we have many merchants who ship only US or US Canada or US UK, Canada, that type of thing. And then we're only caring about those types of followers. Often you'll see followers who are bought are going to be in a country that you don't necessarily care about also. So these are all, I think, important stats that we look at when gauging whether someone's a good potential partner for us.
Nice. Very good answer. Very good answer indeed. And as you say, I've done this a little bit before. And of course, we're working in advertising and customer acquisition. So we get asked a lot by clients, should I get some influencers? What does that do for you? So obviously we did PPC and SEO. So talking about actually promoting some of the influencer content, if they've written a blog post, we can get some Google ads going to their blog post, and that could be part of the deal. We will pay you a bit less, but we'll drive lots of traffic to your blog for you, or to your Instagram accounts. Which leads me on very nicely. I didn't intend to do that, but leads me on really nicely actually to there's kind of two different types of content, isn't there? And I've done quite a lot of work with both over the years. We've worked a lot with bloggers. I've spoken at loads of blogger conferences around the world. Most pre-COVID, might I add. I've been much more settled since COVID, but I've spoken at lots of blogger conferences, talking specifically with people that run blogs, where in a way, you almost get a bit more evergreen content, because if they launch a blog post about your product or traveling to your restaurant or whatever it might be, that blog post can actually rank on Google for 5, 10, 15 years if it's a really good post and a really good site, etc., etc. So if you look at it just purely on that basis, blogs sound great because you got that for years, but probably lower numbers but more consistent. And then social media sounds rubbish because you have this massive boom, which is great, and then you have this massive drop. How do you guys approach that? How do you guys suggest a little bit of both? Do you guys suggest actually, no, we're going to go for more of an always on, we're going to build relationships with the influencers, this is not a one-time thing? Like, how do you guys tend to balance that? I mean, obviously it depends by brand, but yeah, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, like you said, it depends a bit on the brand and where the content is. Some brands are going to be more just social media is going to be where it's at, right? If we're talking skincare product, health and fitness, a lot of that's just going to be on social media and not necessarily on a blog or something that might be more word or literary based or more conducive to kind of that long lasting type of content. So I'd say that's kind of the first thing we look at. It does depend on the influencer, and you might have someone who does have a presence on social media and also has their blog, and then they'll have different options for you. Okay, we can do this for a blog post. Nice. I'm with you. I like the blog posts because they're out there, they're lasting, might get you a backlink to your site, and those are kind of the evergreen things. They're almost hard to go wrong with, that type of stuff. On the social media side, I guess some of the pluses there is that we can have an influencer produce a video or a reel for us, and that gets us that magical user-generated content, the UGC everyone's looking for, that nobody wants to do or nobody knows how to do. That's really the quickest, I think, the easy button for the UGC, right? So we can have our influencer, and we've got a fitness band product, right? And then we ship them a band, and they can unbox it, and then they can do their workouts with the band, and that's really – they're basically filming commercials for us, and as long as we kind of get that relationship set ahead of time and say, hey, we'd like to reuse your content also on our side, then that's all worked out into the agreement. And, I think ideally then we're talking about a multi-term relationship like you mentioned, but I always kind of encourage people. It's like the nice thing about this is it's almost like a dating app and scene with Afluencer. We set you up. Hey, we're looking to pay $200 a reel, which get you in for $200, and we can see how we do, and if we like each other, then we can continue that going. Because yes, every influencer would like to work with a brand that they like on an ongoing basis. As a brand, I think we're in a pretty good spot right now where there's lots of aspiring and nano and current nano and micro influencers, and we've got the product here, and we're looking to work, and we've got the marketing budget, so you're in a nice spot where we can try people out and try out different approaches also, see what works, and then it's like anything in marketing. You do more of what's working, and then if something doesn't work, then we don't do that anymore.
Nice. And just a flag as well, if anyone thinks all this sounds very complicated, stay tuned till the end, because Brett does have a little offer for you guys to actually give you guys a bit of support on this. And I think especially now that we're diving into talking about the difference between bloggers and social media, I completely agree. I think there's an element of dynamic for the brand. What is your dynamic in terms of what are you trying to get out of this? Because one thing that was really interesting, actually, at some of the conferences I went to, I remember I was quite struck at one of the first ones I went to, which would have been sort of 7 years ago now. And I was up there chatting away about SEO for bloggers and how actually SEO can work from social media as well, and some of the inputs you can have to a brand. And I remember the very last part of my talk, which probably got me the biggest queue of people asking about, is I said, if you can demonstrate this value to a brand, they'll pay you more. And of course, every influencer in front of me, they're all travel bloggers. They're all in the travel space. All of them were like, more money equals less 9-to-5 work, more traveling. And if I could do that full time. So my next talk, which I did in a conference in Trentino in Italy, was how to make more money. That was it. How to make more money. And they had to move me into a new room. I had 20 seats and over 150 people turned up out. I had over half the conference trying to get in. So we had to go and use the main room, which I was astonished by. But I ran out. I had Haribo for anyone that turned up as well. Properly luring them in. Money and Haribo. But anyway, I want to jump back. You raised a really, really interesting point, actually. And the reason I gave that little tangent is I was struck by the fact they all called themselves content creators. And I said to a couple of the guys organising it, good friends of mine, Paul and Michael, and I said to them, this is odd, because I thought I was here with a load of influencers. They're like, they influence, but they see themselves as content creators. And as you've just said, a user-generated content video that you could then go and put on your own website. And anyone who's, I have to say, I'm wearing a Trustpilot hoodie at the moment, if anyone's recognising the star. If you've tried to get user-generated content through any of the multiple apps, channels, or through the review partners, it's difficult. It's quite easy now just to get a 5-star, this product's great, send. Trying to get someone to make a video, let alone a picture of the sofa in their house, but trying to get a video, it's really powerful. And I think, as you say, actually, obviously you've done this a lot in the past, to make this sort of comment, but to have that into the agreement from the get-go that we would like exclusive access to use your content for 12 months or unlimited, as soon as the content's created. I love that, taking the social media element and going, actually, social media doesn't have to just be an overnight boom, does it?
No, that's right. And to your point on the reviews, also Trustpilot, wherever we have brand users who are like a Shopify review. Like an Amazon review, right, for my Shopify product. Put that into the collab, right? Because especially if you're shipping products, so you now have an active user, and they're doing the UGC for you on the video, and we work out, okay, by the way, we'd love to reuse the video, repurpose the video on our end, and then we would like you to consider leaving us a review on Amazon. So these are all stuff that you can put into the collab, which I don't know if I kind of defined that early, but the collab is basically the partner opportunity, and we can kind of split that up in the Afluencer app also, right? Nice. So we can say, hey, we got a partner app for nano influencers, because if we're talking about a nano influencer opportunity, and we're going to target influencers between 1,000 and 10,000 followers, and we're just going to say, hey, let's get some content, let's get some reviews, and then they'll share. And we're doing this on kind of a shoestring type budget, but it gives us that upside opportunity, these asymmetric returns that we don't, like you were saying, we don't see on Google Ads anymore. And then to your point on the creators versus influencers self-identifying, it's funny you said that. There was that big push, I think it was 18 months ago. We ran a poll with our users because we considered changing the label. Since the start, we've called brands, and we've called collabs. And our product manager, he thought I was crazy when I said collabs, but I swear Shopify collabs is based off of our collabs. The term, it was out there. We didn't create it, but it was not used that much.
Yeah, nice.
And we said, okay, campaign sounds too stodgy. Collabs is kind of the term, so we're going with collabs. So I'm saying we're the ones who brought it into the ecosystem. We'll take credit for that.
Nice. Yeah, you hold on to that.
But
that's
then
good.
We always right. And then we always had it, and I figure that's a good thing, right? If Shopify is, if we're inspiration there, we'll take that as flattery, right? And then the influencer side, and Shopify really began pushing the creator term, and you heard people referring to themselves as creators. We actually did a grassroots poll 18 months ago, and we said, hey, what do you want to be called, influencers or creators? You tell us, and that's going to be it, or that's going to be it for now. And actually, I was surprised. I thought creators might overtake. It came back 60-40 or a little more in favor of influencers. So we did keep it on the influencer side. Anecdotally today, I think we see a mix in terms of how they self-identify between influencers and creators. They're almost synonymous type terms, but we kind of leave that to the creator or the influencer on that side. But from the brand side, I still think it's kind of thought of as influencer marketing more so. The creator term, for whatever reason, hasn't really stuck from a marketer's standpoint. So it's more, I think, still kind of referred to as influencer marketing on that one. So anyway, that's our experience with the straw poll.
Yeah, nice. And I think purely just talking to my small set of the guys I've met over the years in that space, I think that in a way, the ones that have smaller followings, I think those are the guys that prefer to be referenced as creators, because I think it's actually more respectful to say, I don't have the followers, but I make really cool content, and actually lots of very, very big brands use it. There's a good friend of mine who's based in London, and he does hyperlapses of London. He's called London Viewpoints. Thomas, if you're listening, hello. But he does hyperlapses around London. He gets travelled around the world to do them. He doesn't have a huge following himself. He's got more and more. But actually, a lot of it, he gets hired in by like a hotel to do a hyperlapse of the hotel with the sun going all the way around the back of it, and they use that on their content, which is quite cool. So I think there's that, and then you mentioned the Kardashians before. I think there's much bigger followers. If you've got 1 million followers, regardless of the content you're creating, even if your content quality went down, you're still influencing 1 million people or whatever a percentage of them are engaged, as we said.
Right, exactly. And to jump in there, I mean, the Kardashians, they got famous somewhere else. Thomas is building his following because of his content. So as scrappy marketers or ROI-focused marketers, we want to partner with, give him a shout-out, we want to partner with Thomas potentially, right? If we have a travel brand. We don't want people who are necessarily already famous. We want those content creators. And that's perfect from our standpoint as marketers, because Thomas is creating great content, and we're not going to break the bank to work with him, right? I mean, he's got his rates, they're growing as he grows his following, but again, this is the advantage, I think, of working with the nano, the micro type side as these people build followings, because they have, and oftentimes great content. The only thing is they just don't have the following there yet, which honestly works. I mean, that works in our favor. Their rates aren't crazy. We can work with them now, and as they grow,
which is good. Yeah, absolutely. Let's change gear a little bit. So I mentioned briefly at the start that I used to be, I would describe myself as somewhere between content creator and influencer. I was certainly making content and influencing some, but never had enormous following. The thing is, I knew lots of very famous YouTubers. So every time they came on my channel, it was like, bang, 100,000 views. And then when they weren't on my channel, I was back down to sometimes 1,000, sometimes 5,000. I did a lot of travel and stuff like this. But I was thinking ahead of this episode, who is this for? Because when we talk about things like subscriptions on your Shopify store, there's a lot of people thinking this isn't for me. And then we started giving some really good examples. And quite a few of the brands who reached out said, I never would have thought that my, a sofa company, I never thought we could have any kind of subscription apart from a pay on finance for your sofa or your bed or something. But they've started offering subscriptions as a result of listening to our podcast and hearing other brands that are doing it. And when I think about influencer marketing, or content creators, but yeah, influencer marketing, I think there are so many little niches to this. And I think some brands look at themselves and say, influencers is not for us. But there are influencers in so many different sectors, aren't there? I mean, I did a day driving some sports cars for a car hire company, which I'd never really thought about. I did a day, well, not a day, but 3 days in Amsterdam where I travel supermarket sent me out there. I went snowboarding on an indoor snowboarding course in the UK for a snowboarding company. I had random products that had been sent to me from tech companies that I could use on my road trips around the world. I was in one country and a brand contacted me on Twitter and literally said publicly, like, we'll give you £5,000 if you can do this. And I was like, game on, let's go. That covers my fuel bill for the whole trip and a bit more. So there's certainly a very wide range of audience. And obviously, we're talking about Shopify, we're talking about merchants, but from your perspective, how broad is that spectrum of people that can use influencers? And what are some of those sort of rarer use cases that people think influencing marketing is not for us, but actually there is someone or some people out there that could influence some customers?
Sure, yeah. And then just to add, Nick, I think the industry would still consider you a creator. I just got back from Shop Talk earlier this week, and they had the numbers of creators, which now identifies like 313 million, I think, more than the population of the U.S. And then that they mentioned did not include podcasters, but they said podcasters probably should be included in that.
We should. I'm very influential, right? as my wife will add. I'm sure.
As important influencers and creators.
Yeah.
So if we think about, right, will this type of marketing apply to my brand? And I like to think of it and talk through this with merchants in terms of the pyramid hierarchy of return on investment, right, where we have the various levels of investment that we have to put in, and then what type of return. We can talk about that for different industries. So on the base level, I think, is our affiliate program, commission-based, right? What business doesn't want or need an affiliate program? And it's kind of a no-brainer, right, where you're only paying a commission of sales. It's something you just want, if nothing else, have that footer on your website, sign up to be an affiliate. People will get your link. They may share it. They may not. But it's one of those types of top end of your marketing funnel activities. It's a why not. Can you build your entire business on affiliate marketing? It's probably going to be challenging to do that, but it is one of those spokes in terms of the front end of the marketing funnel. It's like a why not. You can set it up. You can automate most of it. And with that, then I like to teach our new merchants that if you have an affiliate program, then the best way to fill that funnel is going to be, especially with the nano and the up-and-coming micro-influencers, right? So the people who have the following and they're looking to work with brands. And we do this coaching on our influencer side as well, because we'll have people who come in and they've got 1,200 followers and they want these brand partnerships. And we say, slow them down. We say, well, that's great, but keep producing your content. You're not there yet in terms of being paid per post. Keep producing your content, but why not start working with brands today? You just need to look for commission-based offers, right? Because you can sign up and you can get approved. And on the brand side, we do teach the brands to say, hey, just if you're growing an affiliate program, you want numbers. It's an 80-20 game. It's 90-10 or even more in my experience, right? Where you'll have a lot of affiliates, very tough to activate them, but a few are going to be awesome. You don't know who those few are going to be ahead of time. So we want more and more and more, and a great way to do that is with nano influencers. And the reason we have our platform at a very reasonable price is we would just want to be able to recruit lots of these types of partners for you. So even if you're starting off with that affiliate program, and as we know, affiliate programs, they really can apply to most types of industries, right? You got a sofa, you've got a specialty car product. I mean, we've got the obvious stuff. Anything you're shipping is going to be a good fit for an affiliate type offer. So we start there, and then we start moving up the chain. And once your affiliate program is working for you, and we say, well, how do we scale that? Well, we scale that by doing a little bit of pay-per-post on the micro-influencer side, right, or pay-per-reel. So we get some videos produced, like we were saying, and we're not breaking the bank, $100, $200 a video, and we're getting good returns there, and then we continue to scale up, right? And then we look up the chain at the macro-influencers, and we budget $500 or $1,000 per post or reel. So that's how we can scale it up on this side. And then in terms of the industries, I think it'd be surprising. I mean, we started the app when we launched over 3 years ago, the app itself with 30 interests, and we're over 60 now.
Wow.
And it just keeps growing by the day. And you're talking, I mean, just if you ask just friends of yours who they follow on Instagram, you're going to get such a diverse type of response. And it depends what they do for their profession and but you'll find there are creators in every type of industry, right? And that's who we're trying to get a hold of here. And when we think about working with them, though, I kind of default to that the pyramid of ROI, right, where we always start with that commission-based offer. That's kind of our good way to go, and then we work up from the nanos, micros, and move up from there.
Nice. And I mean, in terms of some use cases, I've been surprised and at times shocked by influencers. We're working with a company that literally make cables. The cables that connect things like a computer to a screen or a camera to a laptop. And they started saying, we're going to work with some influencers. And I remember saying to them at the time, this is not for you. This is for the big travel companies and, the new iPhone and whatnot. And they were like, no, we found some influencers. They found some guys who, one of the world's most famous videographers and photographers. I think his name was Matt Barnes, a British guy. And he goes around shooting stuff for like Discovery or whatever. And he'll go and sit. I think it was Matt Barnes. He was certainly one of them. But there was this guy, he'd literally go and sit in like the Antarctic and watch wolves running around or whatever. I don't know if there are wolves in the Antarctic, but he would go and do stuff like that. And he would document what he was doing and sell the footage to like Discovery Channel or whoever, or National Geographic. But he would also document the filming of it. And he'd started all his own channels, and that's where he was influencing. And you start finding all these little niches. There's another one in the UK, Martin Lewis. For any UK listeners, you'll love Martin Lewis. Money Saving Expert is the name of his website, and he's on the news almost every day. Obviously, there's a cost of living crisis going on globally at the moment. Everything's getting expensive. Energy's costing a lot. We all need to go green. There's a war going on in Europe at the moment where we are, in Ukraine, and it's he's there giving people advice on like how to save money and how to do stuff. And you're like, well, who's he influencing for here? Insurance companies, banks, credit cards, stuff that you would think actually is really, really dry. But you've touched on a couple of points that have reminded me actually of a couple of other things I think we need to bring into the mix here. That's outside of influencer marketing, but influencer certainly helps. Number one is SEO. We're just talking about affiliate programs. When we launch affiliate programs, even just on that commission basis, as you say, someone just tags you in their blog every third or fourth post a couple of times and they might make 10 sales, which gets them $100. Great. You've just made $100 from doing what you're doing anyway. It's $100 you didn't make before, and the brand's got 10 new customers. And on SEO, as soon as those links start getting created all over the place, it's really powerful because now the business is being endorsed. And I think the other thing as well, you mentioned about building a whole business off affiliate marketing. I think you could do it, but it wouldn't necessarily be just the affiliate channel coming in. The thing that reminded me of is we've just finished 3 months at the end of February, it would have been. We did 3 months with retention.com about retaining customers and building lifetime value. So actually, if the affiliates are just drip feeding in, initially it'll be like 90%, but over time it'll be a higher volume, but now it's only sort of 10% of the mix because you're getting that repeat business. You're certainly not at the mercy of your Googles and Facebooks, as we said earlier, paying could be $50, $100 per new customer and then struggling to get them to convert. So I think being a good business, having a good product, getting your communication right internally, so once a customer's bought from you, you communicate well with them. It all starts to create that mix, doesn't it?
That's right. Yeah, it's all part of building that business, and just kind of thinking about how you want to reach your end customer. Right. We have I guess you talk about unique ways to reach your end customer. We have a Shopify brand on now, and they've got a perfect Father's Day gift, right? And as dads, I can say we're impossible to shop for because you ask your dad. My wife asked, "What do you want for your
gift vouchers?"
Christmas? Nothing.
That's what
Nothing,
we ask
right?
for in my family. Just loads of gift vouchers. That's what we'll have. Yeah.
That's right. Gift vouchers. Yeah. No guy ever wants anything, right?
Yep.
And if you want to get something a physical product, right? These are cool little golf course maps to put up. And it's a great gift because it's something they wouldn't buy for themselves. Where most dads or guys will just go out and buy whatever, right? So how do you reach the dads for Father's Day? Well, you find the mom influencers, right? So you go ahead and you run the campaign and you start it. It's gonna be April, right? So you start it now. And you get the mom influencers out there, and then the moms follow the moms and say, here's the perfect Father's Day gift, right? And then everyone in the neighborhood gets these cool maps as that gift. So that's a way to reach where it's not necessarily obvious, where you don't necessarily think about it and say, oh, we got to reach the moms for this product for guys. But this time of year, it could be a very effective way to do it. So that's kind of how you think about your end customer, and then how do you reach them necessarily? And it might be a little different here. But again, like you said, it gives you that mix. It diversifies you off of just shoveling money to Google and Facebook, and that money you shovel. I mean, that's a one-time thing. There's no lasting benefit off of that. Like, what we're trying to do is kind of build these systems that bring us kind of virtual feedback loops, right? We want to build the business stronger and stronger as we go.
Yeah, definitely. I completely agree. And I think a really interesting point actually off the back of that is talking about communicating out to the right influencers to reach your target. There's three things we've been saying to our clients a lot, certainly this year, and this is looking on. I think in terms of, I mentioned the cost of living crisis, one of the things brands are struggling with the most at the moment, hence why we teamed up with Retention and why Retention.com are doing so well at the moment with their offering, is that people are struggling to keep that lifetime value and keep people purchasing. People are considering their purchases more, which makes attribution and tracking a nightmare because you think Google Ads is making you no money, so you turn it off, and now your direct and your SEO and your email drops, and you're like, hang on a minute, and it's people coming from PPC, they sign up for email to get that 15% off first order, but they think about it for a week, which means when they convert, it comes through here. One of the things, there's only three things we've been looking at, but the biggest one of those three things is sending out customer feedback surveys and asking customers the basic questions. What brought you to our site? What did you like? What did you not like? And really simple, just send it to 10% of your audience who haven't purchased in the last 6 months, see what their response is, adapt the questions, send it to the next 10%, see what their response was, adapt to the questions, and keep learning. What are the things I nearly learned here but didn't quite learn? What did I learn that was irrelevant? What did I learn that was super relevant? And start adapting it. So by the time you get to the last 10%, who might, perhaps you work up the chain of who spent the least to who spent the most but hasn't bought for 6 months. So we're not interrupting anyone's journey who's currently having a great time and buying lots of stuff from us. But yeah, learning from that. The second thing we've been telling all clients to do is a post-purchase survey, just one question. So there's loads of apps, like Hotjar is a good one that does this. Someone say, finished purchasing on your site. It says, order confirmed. Just have a little pop-up. You've got 20 questions and it just rotates one per person. So each person just sees one question saying, was our delivery information clear before you purchased? And if everyone says no to that question, you know what you need to do. Fix your delivery information, you're going to make more sales. And I think certainly the more you can learn about your customers like this, how much were you willing to spend? Did you spend more or less than the amount you were planning to spend when you arrived on our site today? Did our site do a good job of upselling to you or not? People aren't always going to tell the truth. They're probably going to say, I spent less. Of course they did. I'm a consumer and I'm in control, which we all know is a lie. We're all irrational and emotional beings. So we do what we feel like. But I think the more of that you can learn, bringing all of that back to what you were just saying, the more you can learn about the customer and how they shop and what they do. And most importantly, the surveys will tell you why. The data tells you what, but they will tell you why. You can then probably find much better influencers. As you say, I think the mothers who are buying for Father's Day, I think is a perfect example of exactly that.
Right. Yeah, that's right. That's right. That's who we're looking for. And to your point on gathering data, that's actually, I think, another benefit here is, especially if you're new and you've got a brand new store, and we see that a lot, where you're really like, Google Ads is not going to get you scaled up from not much sales to some, right? That you can't, like you said, that's more fuel on the fire type stuff.
Yeah.
Facebook ads. So you're looking at organic ways to grow, and that's another benefit is if we are sending product, or we're having our new partner, even if it's a micro influencer, right? They're buying our product and we're maybe comping them a code. They're going through that customer experience and they'll share with us, right? This was confusing. You need to fix this.
Yeah.
I'm excited about this. I didn't like this, right? That's good feedback also from kind of basically an early adopter. And this might even be if we don't have the data yet to get surveys out there, right? Then we can kind of use and it's a friendly person here because we're working with them, but they'll give us the feedback as they go. So it's a good way to kind of iron out those.
And also what I love as well is a bit like when clients ask us for info. We're a supplier. This influencer person, a micro influencer or nano influencer, is working on an affiliate basis. They're also got a commercial interest. So they're not telling you because they don't like it or they just feel like having a moan, which, let's face it, some customers will on a review. But I think that, as you say, they've got a commercial interest. So it's well within their interest to make this as profitable as possible. It's going to be way more profitable if you're converting more customers for them, which I think makes a lot of sense. And right, let's come into land. Final question or final thing to discuss. One of the biggest things you do, obviously, as you mentioned straight away, and I know from the platform, is you guys help people find influencers. And that's the final thing I want to talk about is it can be painful finding influencers, can't it? I mean, if you did have £1 million and you want to get rid of the get hold of the Kardashians and get them to wear your new watch or try your new perfume or come to your event or whatever, that could be a nightmare. And there's going to be rounds and rounds of agents and trying to get through things, and you're not going to get an audience with them, and whatever's done is going to probably be done on their terms, not yours. And it's all so. Long story short, tell us about your platform. Tell us how people can get in touch with influencers, how they can work with them. How does Afluencer help that process happen?
Sure. Yeah. Thanks, Nick. Yeah. So as you mentioned, right, we're going to kind of streamline that process. New people, new to influencer marketing, you're going out there, you're looking on Instagram, but then it's that process, right? Of even if you're trying to approach a micro influencer, how do you approach them? Yeah. Follow them on Instagram. Got to direct message them. Got to ask if they do collabs, right? So we're streamlining all of that into one nice Shopify app experience, right? So you can add our app to your Shopify store, and then we get you set up with a brand profile, and we get you slotted into the interest that we want to look for influencers in, and then we attach an initial collab to your brand, and that's where we're advertising our partner opportunity. So it's kind of like a job posting, but for influencers, for creators, right? So we're saying, okay, here's what we're looking for, and we're paying commission, or we're paying pay-per-post, or we're doing a combination. We can always add as we go, right? But that's what we're doing is that initial set. Let's get some traction in there, and then we get the collab posted in our app. And then with it, usually, if we get that dialed in, we're getting applications right away from influencers, and you can look at their profiles, check the engagement rate, as we mentioned, their country by followers, their content, make sure the recent stuff and their content's on brand. And then when you accept the influencer, you can accept decline. When you accept, we match you up, and we give you a direct message channel so that you can coordinate the collab with them. And that might be activating them as an affiliate, right? Go here, sign up for our affiliate program. Or that may be coordinating your actual campaign, pay-per-post campaign.
Nice. Tinder for influencers, I guess, is what you could say in terms of the connection process. But awesome. And I mean, as someone who's been on the influencer side and had honestly, the most scatty set of emails, I don't have my YouTube channel anymore. I still get emails saying like, hey, Nick, we've got the most amazing new product. I look at it and think, no, you don't. You just bought this on Alibaba one night and stuck a logo on it. Like, there's nothing unique about this thing at all. And I also used to get the coy emails going, hey, it's so-and-so from this brand. We would like to... I think having a platform where, as an influencer, you can just go straight in and everything's in front of you. You've already laid the ground rules, as you say, how I'm going to work with you. It certainly solves a huge problem. And you think about the time it takes an influencer to reply to everybody when you can just, use the Tinder example, swipe left, swipe... I've not been on Tinder in my entire life, but I know how it works. The swipe left, swipe right, that kind of process, I think makes a lot of sense. Brett, we mentioned at least once in today's show that you guys have got a bit of a freebie, a bit of an offer. If anybody, and it is anybody, isn't it? This is not just one person. Anybody can win something from you guys or have something for free. So what is that thing? Tell us more.
That's right. Yeah, thanks, Nick. So we have the opportunity for new Shopify merchants, right? Get that collab set up. And what we like to do, a couple things. One, we like to do a strategy session like this. So we hop on the phone, and I hop on personally with you and block off 30 minutes. There's usually plenty of time. Sometimes we don't need the full 30. Sometimes 10 or 15 minutes is enough. Get you up and running with your collab, and I can take a look at your current partner program and your website, your product, right, and give you thoughts on the influencers, right, of, hey, do we want to target the mom influencers? Are we looking for skincare? And we get that all dialed in. We get the collab posted. And then every Thursday, we're sending out a newsletter to our influencer users, and that's over 18,000 strong right now. And these are actual users of our app, and we get your collab featured. And then you'll get the applications coming in. You can chat with them. And then, of course, I'm available to help with the follow-ups also. So, yeah, freebie for your listeners, sort of that initial strategy session. So whether you're new or experienced or just new to experienced marketer but new to the influencer side, I'd like to help you walk through and then kind of decode, like, this is the language we all know from AdWords, Facebook, right, SEO, and here's how it applies to this crazy world of influencers. Yeah.
And you'd be amazed even today. I've been doing this nearly 15 years, and it was only 2 days ago that one of my clients said, sorry, what does that one mean? And it's like, it's another acronym, and it's a new one. That apologies. But, appreciate your time, Brett. Afluencer.com is the domain, isn't it?
That's it. Yep. AFLUENCER.com. And then the Afluencer app in the Shopify app store. So same thing. AFLUENCER. And you'll find us, and then you can add our app and be off and running.
Lovely stuff. And these guys are going to have a landing page as well. So if you want to get in touch, if you want to have that 30-minute session with them, click on the link below in the description, or you can go to winningwithshopify.com/influencer. Not affluencer, but influencer, because we thought that's a term everybody knows. So go there. It will forward you straight over to their website, to that page, fill out a quick form, and you'll get your call booked. So, yeah, nice and easy. Brett, thank you so much for your time today. It's been an absolute pleasure having you on the show.
Thank you, Nick. Fun talking with you.
Lovely stuff. And for everybody listening, as I say, Afluencer are sponsoring the podcast this month. So check out some more of our episodes. We are going to be talking to a couple of their customers. We're going to be talking to an influencer or two as well. So make sure you stay tuned. It's going to be loads of great stuff, especially if you're interested in this space. Even if you're not, as we say, there's something for everybody in here. So stay tuned this month. If you've not already, hit the subscribe button. Thanks so much for tuning in again today, and we'll have you again next week. Thanks a lot for listening.